Let's call it that way. And that's the name of the movie, by the way, The London Epiphany.
This is what it is with filmmakers. Like we start thinking about the lights and
maybe a bouncing board here.
A bit of diffusion.
So, from there, I was starting to get curious. I was like, how is this possible? Physically, I'm just sitting on a chair, but I feel like I get emotions when I'm watching this. Wow, like I could convey a message. I could give an emotion.
It's another movie, I think.
You need that moment of like realization. You need that moment of like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm meant to do editing. I'm meant to do directing. I'm meant to tell a story. All right, sound speedy.
Ah, that's a fancy thing.
Perfect. Sound speeding.
All right.
Okay, then we'll clap. Valeria.
Yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3. My mic just didn't.
You're like, knock the
That was
mic.
fun.
You're like, dish.
That happens.
Well, we're very lucky today because we have here Fabrizio Famá.
Hi.
Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, Fabrizio. Fabrizio is the right way to...
Fabrizio. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
The
I
most
love
Italian name you would hear today.
the most Italian name you can have. It's gorgeous.
Yes. When I was in New York, it was a struggle to have my name pronounced correctly.
Okay, so I'll do it again. Fabrizio.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Brava.
Well, Fabrizio is an editor and he's worked on multiple award-winning projects. He's also a producer, and we will talk about that, his newest projects, and an educator, teacher at the New York Film Academy in Florence. And that's where Valeria and him met. And I would love to start with asking you how your journey into filmmaking started.
Ooh, well, that's a beautiful question because I think it defines a lot of what then when we are adults and into the work life, it defines better what you will become eventually. So it all started actually like a lot of other students do because I also studied film. I was always interested because with my parents I was always going to the movie theater to watch this amazing films that I would get like so completely deeply focused and completely I was there in the story with the actors. I was there with Indiana Jones. I was there with the Ghostbusters. I was there with Marty McFly, which is my favorite movie, of course, Back to the Future. So, from there, I was starting to get curious. I was like, how is this possible? How is it that I'm sitting, physically, I'm just sitting on a chair, but I feel like I get emotions when I'm watching this, And then, later I started to meet someone who had my same interest. I'm talking about like later, like university, right? Because I studied scientific school in Italy. So, it's just like, the usual stuff, biology, chemistry, mathematics, those things. But later I met someone who had my same interests. And Italian, of course. I was still here in Sicily, which is where I'm from, which is what you see a little bit outside here on the window. Always very sunny. Always very sunny. Second sunniest city in the world after Alicante in Spain. But anyways, so and then we were doing things because that's one of the first things that I said to all of my students. Because as later I became a teacher, which is, instead of thinking about it, instead of like struggling finding the right way, the right script, the right camera, that's all like it's not important. Exactly.
Yes.
It's more important to just take a camera, take a phone, take whatever you have that you could film something, and then just do it. Tell the story. So we started to do it, and then of course at the beginning I was like super confused because I knew that I liked the movies, but I didn't know which part of that process I would like the best, the more, right? So I would maybe acting. 'Cause my sister is an actress, so I was like, maybe acting. But then my memory is terrible, so there's no way I would have been able to memorize all of those lines. Like, there's no way. Also, I'm a Leo, so sometimes I don't really take very good, like, people telling me what to do and how to do it. But anyways, that's my personality. But, so I was like, no, maybe lighting, maybe cinematography. But then I thought it was like, it's kind of a hard, difficult thing. Maybe, I don't know. Camera, I was interested. I was like a geeky person, always interested in like geeky stuff. Like, so I was like, maybe holding a camera. In fact, I started to do short films when I got my first camera. One of those, like, the side screen that you open, the handy cam ones from from the 90s, which I still have somewhere. But and then slowly I was getting more into, like, and then when it was time to put it all together, which is what I do in the end nowadays, I was like, wow, like, I do have so much power when I'm putting those things together that maybe they were not meant to be together, like scene 1 and scene 2, or this close up or that wide shot. And I could convey a message. I could give an emotion. And then slowly I started to realize that by putting those things together, people will go like, they will cry, they will laugh, they will smile, they will, they will get scared. That was thanks to the way I would do that job, which was film editing, which was editing. So that's from there I started to, like, do more and more and more and more, like, short films, low budget. Actually, I would say no budget. It's better because we just had a camera and a lot of, like, really wanted to go out there and film, and Valeria, you also filmmaker, so but you guys are also filmmakers, so you also worked in the same industry as me, so you know better than me.
Yes,
Then
also
like,
done no budget.
Yeah,
also been there.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe along the way, maybe once you're doing that professionally, you probably do not want to say too many yes to low budget or no budget productions, of course, because in the end, this is our job. It's not like I'm a lawyer and then on the side I do filmmaking. I'm fully committed to that. This is what, when I started to do this, I was like, I want to live out of this. I want to make a living out of this. And it's with struggles, of course. But I'm doing it. I'm always in the same cosmo, solar system, like made of the same planets. I'm teaching, but I'm teaching editing, and I still do editing, and I do always things that are, around that, world. I don't do, like, tomorrow I wake up and I decided that I wanted to do, like, I don't know, cheese. Although it would be very interesting, but
Interesting you said cheese.
Never
I
say
was
never.
thinking about bakery.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
why. I was like, you should have a bakery.
Yeah. My brother-in-law actually is very good at baking, and he's an actor.
See?
So,
See?
yeah.
I must have felt that. I don't know why.
Yes.
I must have felt that. But then but you then decide to go to New York. Am I right?
Yes. Before that, I was like beaten up, but I raced back up. I got back up because it wasn't like, okay, let's go to New York, and it worked. I went there when I was, like, younger for studying filmmaking. I was lucky enough to have very supportive parents, both of them, and they were like, if you feel like you want to do that, you should go, and I did the New York Film Academy as a student in New York, and it was like a 4-week, very short program, okay? And when I came back, it was hard because I thought, okay, now I have so much experience, I could do something here. I opened up my company, my small production company, but I was not going very well, of course. Unfortunately, in the Sicily, in the south of Italy, it's not like Milan or Rome, all the story, always all the story of the world, of course. But and then later, I decided to, I was like, let's go to London. and I moved to London, and I was literally doing what everybody does at the beginning, which was like literally knocking to every single production company and just like handle your resume, right? And that was not taking me to anywhere, you know. And that's when I had the first struggle, which I ended up basically working at a shoe shop, at a famous shoe brand, and I in a mall, in a big mall. And this is interesting because this is a message that I want to give to all of the filmmakers who are starting, like, and they are having struggle starting, you know, and still have second thoughts on whether they wanted to be filmmakers or not. Here's the thing: I was like literally on my knee having a lady trying a pair of very expensive shoes. So I was like on my knee, and I was like looking at the shoe, and I was like selling her so many shoes, very expensive. And she was like, it was in London, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like I just had that moment of realization,
Yeah.
because I was getting paid, you know, and I was doing good money. I'm not saying that enough to, you know, pay rent and everything. And I was like, I literally had that shoe in my hand, and I was like, what am I doing? The lady asked me, can I have that in brown? And I'm like, I still remember. And I go back to the, you know, when I take all the shoes, I take my jacket, and I literally leave the store, like without saying anything.
You just left?
I
You just
just
walked
left.
out?
And then my you know, my coworkers, of course, took care of the lady, of course. And my boss was like, literally it looked like a scene from a movie. It literally looked
Exactly.
like this.
That's what I wanted to say straight from the
Like
movie.
this. Like walking out. Of
I
course, then I
love
sent the
it.
email, the resignation letter, you know, and everything, excusing it. But I just had that click, you know. I was like, I'm not doing this. I haven't studied, and I haven't, you know, been so passionate and doing short films, and also work till like early in the morning with my friends for nothing to sell shoes. I had to do this other thing, which was telling stories, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say to all the people that are listening to the podcast right now and having the moment of, will I be able to make it? Will I not be able to make it? You need that moment of like realization. You need that moment of like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm meant to do editing. I'm meant to do directing. I'm meant to tell a story. That's what I strongly suggest to everybody who's doing or is thinking of doing this. And then
May
I
I
moved
ask-
to New York. Yes.
Then
yes,
you
please.
moved to, may I ask you something? But okay, so you moved to New York to study then more. Is that what you're saying? Or because
First,
you
I
talk,
studied.
because you were taking all the steps before. You were
Yes.
taking the steps. You were going exactly what you kind of should do. Today we don't maybe knock on the doors
Yeah.
literally. You know, it's more online. Yet you were doing all that and it didn't work. Then you had this epiphany where you walk out, which is
Exactly.
amazing.
Epiphany is the right
It's like,
word. And yesterday was the epiphany. So it's
By the
Yeah,
way,
exactly.
Fabrizio, we need to make that film. Just saying.
oh. All right.
You walk out, and then from then on, you're able to provide for yourself with this art. So, what changed there? What was it exactly?
Well, so there is a between the London Epiphany, let's call it that way, and that's the name of the movie, by the way, the London Epiphany.
Exactly, we have the name, guys. We
Write
have
it
the
down.
name.
Write it down. Write it down. I wanted to go to the United States. I knew that I wanted to go there because when I was starting there, I got a feeling like, wow, this is like, it looked like in the movies. That's what everybody says when they arrive in New York. They're like, oh, that's Ghostbusters. Oh, that's Harry Met Sally. Or that's, they all have this like movie. So I was like, wow, this is, I think, where I can really do my job and getting paid, So I was like, but it didn't work like right away. And also I knew that if I wanted to go to New York, it was expensive. So I had to like plan and do some budget stuff. And that's when I decided to work on a cruise ship for 6 months. And I was doing something called the TV director. I was basically in charge of all the TV and video related activities on a ship. So I don't know if you ever been to a cruise ship, but you know, like it. Anyways, they
Yeah.
have this big theater where they want to have this huge screen, and you as a director decide what to put on the screen because you have camera operators. It almost looks like a TV studio. So you like decide which camera, you know. Also, you do some
Nice.
editing, you do some like little scissor reels and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the job environment was really, really toxic. Like I did not like it, but it had one positive thing, which was they paid really well, and also you don't have rent to pay, and you don't have food to pay. So everything that you get, it's like straight in your pocket, and that's how it was like. You know what? After 2 days, I realized that the job was gonna be awful, but I said, you know, I woke up again, I stand up again, just like at the London Epiphany, and I was like, you know, okay, I will just stranger identity, which means I like bite, you know,
Yeah.
bite it, and it's like go forward, make the biggest amount of money that I can possibly do in 6 months, and I then paid those money, allowed me to pay for my visa application, my lawyer, and all of that stuff, and I was able to start like that. I went to United States, I went to New York, I started to networking because let me tell you something for those who are listening that if you want to be a filmmaker, networking is even more important than your technical skills. Like sometimes it's even more important. The majority of job that I got was thanks to oh nice to meet you. Oh you do editing? Oh yeah, me too. Oh, I have a job that I done. You know, even what we're doing here with Eva and Valeria, it's thanks to some sort of networking episode. No,
Yes.
so
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, and that's when I started. I went there, I started to do connections and talk to this, talk to that, and then I realized that I was like moving forward instead of having another setback, you know, another falling. And I was like growing, growing, growing,
Yeah.
and then I got the opportunity to become a teacher.
That's
So
beautiful. I think it's exactly because you had this epiphany
yeah.
that you kind of redefined why you have to earn money. Because if it was just for the sake of making money, you probably would quit because it was a toxic environment, as you said, and it wasn't, you know, something that your heart was into. But exactly because you knew why you need to stay there and why you need to persevere, that's why you could do it. That's amazing.
Well said.
That's an
Well
amazing
said.
story.
Yeah.
It's
If
another
you-
movie, I think.
All
you-
the movies we're gonna make with you.
If you, when you're starting, you're doing filmmaking for the money,
Yeah.
it's
No.
better if you do something else, like really, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I know that eventually you need the money, like you need to make some money somehow, otherwise there's no way you like,
Yeah.
unless you like, I don't know, win the lottery or like you're billionaire because your family is very wealthy. But if that's not the case, eventually you need to like be more realistic, you know, and then like, you know, okay, maybe I'm not Spielberg, but I will do things, and I will try to make money in doing these things, you know. And then like that's why I decided also to do the teaching, because that was like a win-win, because I was teaching filmmaking, what I loved. I was teaching film editing, which is my life, what I've been doing for all my life. I don't do any other stuff. I mean, I do some other stuff, but primarily that's what my job is. And I could also teach it to other people, and find who were the people who had the same passion that I had, like just by looking at them, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much my story, you know. That's just that the lighting is getting a little bit. Is it better if I do this? Maybe like a little bit better. Anyways,
This is what it is with filmmakers. Like we start thinking about the lights
maybe a bouncing board here. maybe
Yes.
and the setup and like, oh my God, is this
A
working?
bit of diffusion.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing that I want to just go back to just shortly, and because it's
Yeah.
so important, and you said it yourself, it is the networking. And I want to just highlight the difference between before, when you were just knocking on doors and go like, hi, this is my resume, this is me, da da da, to what changed. Yes, you said had the epiphany, the London Epiphany, but at the same time, what changed is that you started networking in a sense of, and I'm understanding correctly, and this is how we work,
Yeah.
in sense of like, you know, the collaboration, looking for that.
Yeah.
Like not,
Yeah.
hi, can you give me a job? But more like, hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Am
No.
I
Can you
correct?
give me a job? Is the signature line if you do not want to get a job. Like if you
Yeah.
really do, if you want people to hate you, just go there, give them your business card, or tell them how amazing you are, and they will hate you. They will not. I mean, I can speak for New York because that's where I spent 7 years doing this job. So I don't know in any other places, but I'm pretty sure that it works the same around. And you know, I my first job actually in New York, I got it because you go to the website, you start to and then they were looking for someone who would do something in Italian, and then when I talked because the owner of the company, this little company located in Astoria in Queens in New York, was doing this Italian thing, and I was like, I met him for the first time, but I wasn't. It was interesting because no question about the job was asked. We just started to connect. Like we started, of course, the nationality helped, but it was like, oh, you're from Rome. Oh yeah, and then we started talking Italian, right? But it's really the networking, and I did also the mistake in London when I was like, hey, I have an editor with 15 years experience because that's how much I had in experience in editing, and nobody was even like not even saying like thank you, we don't need it, like zero, like not even answering.
Yeah.
And then in New York, I started to realize that networking is truly everything. Like, I can give you another example. I was at this meetup for editors, right? Which is crazy. Like, for someone who comes from like, I'm gonna sound a bit not really nationalist right now, but from someone who comes from Italy, you do not really like. You would not think, oh, I'm going to a meetup where there is a lot of other people who do my same job. So why would they give me their job? That's what I was thinking, no? And I could not be more wrong. I could not be more wrong because the moment I step in that bar, because it was at a bar, and I start to talk here and there, and then I start to meet them for the person that they were, not for the fact that they were editors. I was introducing myself as I'm Fabrizio, I'm from Italy, I just came in New York, what's up, how's it going? The word I'm an editor was not coming out of my mouth, and of nobody actually. And I met an incredible person, and then I sit at a bar, and I was sipping my drink, and then near me there was this other editor, and she now edits a lot of great. She's an assistant editor for a lot of great documentary. Her name is Simona. I actually say hi to her,
Hi,
and
Simona.
Hello.
she's assistant editor for the movie Free Solo. No, Free Solo. Free. It was a
Oh, I
documentary about
saw
this
that
guy
one. Oh, I
the
saw it. Was
climber.
amazing. Yes, the climber. Yeah.
So she was assistant editor, and also she's doing a lot with like Discovery, HBO's, And we started to talk. Hey, how's it going? Oh, and then she was like, you know what? There is this job that I'm doing another thing, and I cannot do this other thing. Would you like to cover for me? Like, would you like to? And I was like, yes. And that was the job that allowed me to actually having a full, a constant income and a good income. And I was just, it was like maybe like 2 or 3 months that I was in New York, and it just had another epiphany. It was like, wow, I cannot believe that doing the the usual thing, resume, letter, that was not giving me anything. And then the moment I go to a meetup where I have the lower expectations because they're all do my same job, the moment I get in there, I start to talk to this, to that, to that person, and then I get a job that is like well paid, constant, and that of course allowed me to meet another bunch of people that are now still collaborate with me. So it's like it's a tree. You are this little seed. The tree grows, and then you start to do all the branches, and it grows. And then
Exactly.
and then you're basically good because then you have this job, and that's exactly what all the other jobs allow me to continue. I'm still doing it thanks to this mentality, this way of thinking.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I think what a lot of people don't get about networking, that it's basically about human to human connection, and it's about nurturing the relationship. It's not about I give you this, give me that. It's not about that. It's about win-win scenario, and where like people just meet, they're curious about each other projects, they admire each other's work maybe, or even like, you know, hobbies and stuff, and they just connect, they talk, and then later on if something arises, that's perfect, that's an additional bonus. If not, that's not ultimately the goal of networking. I think if you very rigid and you're just like go there to hunt for like people and opportunities, that just puts you in a very kind of weird spot, and people can sense that energy, and they don't really, especially creative people, we can sense everything. We're like very, I think intuition is very well developed.
And the job that I got, they didn't even ask me how I was working. They didn't even want my show reel or anything. They just said, well, they would just trust me. They trust me because they see that the person they have in front, it's not a crazy person. I mean, crazy. Creatively speaking, I'm crazy, but
just a little bit, maybe.
I'm not
crazy. So
yeah, you gotta be a little crazy if you want to do filmmaking.
100%.
Yeah. So, but they would just trust me. They would say, okay, yeah, would you like to cover for me? Like, would you like to do it instead of me doing it, because I cannot do both things, without even asking me if I knew the software. Like I get these questions a lot from my students, right? It's like, which software should I learn if I wanted to do editing and I wanted to get... People don't care about which software you want to use. Of course, it will help you if you can use more, but they ask you, how do you do with editing? Not which tool you use. If you are good in, I don't know, do a knife and fork, they work very well. They don't care how you do it. If they work very well, that's fine,
Yes. But I want to go back, like, why editing? Because you said that you studied with a camera in your hands and you had like passion for, filming things. And of course, I know that you're very passionate about editing. And I know, I still remember that little clip that you showed us. It was very inspirational. It's about the power of shaping the story exactly on the edit. And everything that you taught us, it was exactly that the film is getting made a couple times, once it's written, once it's being directed, once it's being edited, and maybe even later on when it, takes off and people are, taking it on the journey and kind of making their own story in their own minds with it. But why editing? How does this come about for you?
I had, are you ready for another epiphany?
Yes, please.
No, all right. So basically, I was always into editing because at the first, because I liked the geeky part of it, the technical part of it, the fact that I could also move from editing to visual effects a little, to color, to, I like that, and also that was the moment where like computers were allowing you to, everybody in the house could like connect a camera to the computer, import the footage, and then do something, which was the beginning of the digital era, so to speak, Before that, you would actually had a film camera, which was way too expensive, no? But anyways, I started there because, so I was always, geeky and stuff, but there was one time where I was working with this, on this short film, which is a story about this old man who was blind since he was very, very young. But then it kind of started to, by an accident, and in that movie I actually do a little bit of acting part, which is terrible. So anyways, in that moment, he meets on a square a tourist, and the tourist wants to take a picture, like he gives the old man the camera to take a picture of him and the couple and the girl. And the guy does not know how to say that he's blind. He cannot see. And then, but he realizes that when he looks through the camera, he sees. So it's like a magic thing. It's like it's meta cinema, talking about cinema in cinema. But anyways, when we did the first screening at the movies, in a movie theater near my home, so not very great, but gigantic, like a small venue, I was in the projection room, okay? And the movie kind of ends on a sour, sad-ish note because he sees the wife after 7 years. So, so it's like he sees that she's grown old, and then they dance together. So he dances with the camera. It's like a really fun, but also like bitter taste sort of ending. I could see people getting off the movie theater with their eyes red.
Yes.
So I was like, so you're telling me that based on how I extended the shot, based on how much I extended the shot, based on how much extended the shot, and based on how long I kept that music, and based on how loud was that sound effect, and how much I dragged that close up. So basically, based on editing, I could make people having that reaction. And that's when I was like, okay, wow, this is really now what I wanted to do, like for real. And just like the video that Valeria was mentioning, it says, as an editor, you have so much power in your hand. You don't just put things together because scene 2 is supposed to be after scene 1, or the close-up was supposed to be after the wide shot, whatever. You do it because it creates an impact to the audience, to what are you when you're watching it. That's why you got like scared when you watch a horror movie. This is why you get scared, because the way it's edited, or this is why you get so sad when you see Leonardo DiCaprio drowning in the Titanic. Spoiler alerts, but I don't think there's any spoilers. Those moments, those very peak moments in filmmakings, are so peaking moments, thanks to the directing, thanks to the amazing acting, but in the end, if you mess up the final step, which is editing, you can make a disaster. But if you don't mess it up, you can make a beautiful film. This is what I always tell to my students, and that's how I got into editing. To answer your question, Valeria, that's how I got wow. I was like, okay, I really need to be able to, I want to be able to have the final, not the final word, because it sounds bad. Like, someone wants to have always the final word on something, but, you do kind of have it. You do have the final, I would say the final chance, the final opportunity, the final chance to make it work, to make sure that your audience will cry when you thought they would have to cry, will gasp when you put it together in the way they should gasp there, and will laugh when you edit it in a way with a special timing so that the audience will laugh, So that's how I got into it. Like the ability to guide the audience by the way you put together things to a specific emotion, That's how I don't know if it makes sense.
It
Yes,
does.
and the way how you teach it, it's very visual, because I remember another scene we watched, Whiplash, the short one, the one that was made before. And basically I remember how you showed us that what you can do, that you can do this character to be like a complete asshole just by like cutting the pauses, making him interrupt the girlfriend, or instead you can like make it longer and make this pause speak for itself. And that was impactful. Like you can talk, you can see exactly the impact immediately.
You design the character, like you shape the character better. You can make the character being a complete, as you said, a-hole, or a good person, or even maybe enhance their performances.
Yes.
And if you put it into the wrong hands, you can actually ruin the performances.
Yes.
You can when I say enhance the performance, it doesn't necessarily mean to like using the best takes. I don't mean that. I mean sometimes less is more, meaning that you have to cut out some parts that maybe the actors would not like, but in the economy of the film entirely, when the audience is going to stand up and leave, you don't want them to be like oh, that was so long, the acting was so bad. You wanted to be like, wow, that was like crazy, you know. And you know, even if that means take out some stuff, some extra lines that don't really add anything to the story, just do it, you know. It's a secret. It's a secret. Which is also why, by the way, directors should never be also. It's very hard for directors to also edit their films because.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eva is like.
It's like butchering your arm. You're like, what am I
Yeah.
doing even? It's painful.
Because it's your
Yeah.
baby, you know. And if you even wrote
Exactly.
it and you're directing it,
Exactly.
and then you have to cut things away, like scenes, total like whole scenes, or
Exactly. You
That's
could not use a
tough.
better term. It's your baby. Like it's your
Yeah.
creature. You just created it, and you don't
Yeah.
want to like exactly like mutilate it. You just want, well, no, that scene took so long, you know. But just you know, it's just the way it is. You want a good movie at the end. You don't want a boring, too long for no reason movie.
True.
You know, you can think of any film that you like. Imagine if all the films that you really loved were actually used every single scene that they actually shot. They will last forever, you know. They will last unless you are Stanley Kubrick, you know. Then maybe you're gonna get the freedom, or unless you're like Christopher Nolan or you know this or Scorsese. I use the Italian pronunciation.
good,
Martin
that's good.
Scorsese. You know, but yeah. So that's yeah. It's really hard, and when I do directing, because I did something, it's hard. It's really really hard, you know. So I understand. So for the directors who are listening, do editing. Do ask someone else to do editing. Hire an editor.
Do
Because-
yourself a favor.
Yeah, exactly. Do yourself a favor, and then you know collaborate. Of course, you know, stay in the editing room if it's necessary, but trust your editor. You know, and then you know they will give you some solutions that you might have never thought they would actually work. You know, this is why editors and directors most of the time are the same persons in the films. You know, Scorsese, Shoemaker, Pietro Scalia, Ridley Scott. You know, it's a married couple, so to speak. Yeah.
But also, I think edited is very closely connected to your music, right? Because you were a musician first.
Yeah.
So tell us about maybe like how you see the pacing
Yeah.
of the film, because this is the big thing. Like,
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah,
pace? It takes a nerve to cut something, but also I think even more courage to let the moment kind of stretch and
Absolutely.
to breathe. Yes.
Absolutely. It's all about rhythm, honestly. I mean, this is my personal point of view, and the majority of filmmakers that I met, they do share my same point of view. But there are, of course, other filmmakers who are not musicians, and they are great filmmakers, you know. But I strongly believe that between music and filmmaking, but I would go as far as to say between music and editing, it's actually the relation of the two. It's really really strong because the clips on the timeline, it's like the notes of your you know paper, you know, the pentagram. So it's like you need to understand when. We know when the amazing composers of the past, you know, Mozart, Beethoven, when they were doing this, they were thinking of, you know, they would not have the possibility to listen exactly to what it will sound like, you know. They will just play with the piano, of course, but you know, for those who did like with multiple instruments, that's why they are so geniuses, right? They were not able to hear. Mozart, I think Mozart was even deaf, if I'm not wrong, or maybe was it Beethoven?
That wasn't Mozart.
Beethoven.
Beethoven.
Anyway,
It was Beethoven.
so you know, so they knew exactly that after a short note, it would maybe look and sound nicer a longer note, or maybe a pause, maybe nothing at all. You know, imagine the best piece of classical music. I mean, even the classic do 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 from Beethoven. You know, why does it hit you so much? Because it's do 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 do, like that note. It's long, you know. So instead of being like do 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 do, it would sound something different, you know. That's why I think the connection is really, really, really strong, especially with editing, and it does have some rhythm. A fast scene, if in a movie, in a 90s minutes movie, you do always like cut, 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 like fast, fast, fast all the time. The chances are that your audience will be like, you know, engaged, but at a certain point it will be like, please stop the roller coaster, you know. So you do need some moments of like, pause, slow pace, fast pace, slow pace, fast pace. It's just the way it works. And having that sort of background, I'm not like a professional musician in a way that I don't like tour with bands or anything. I never did. I did play with my bands, of course, around. I first as a drummer, and then moving into New York. Of course, I could not bring the entire drum set to New York because my landlord would probably kick me out. So I decided to move to the guitar, electric, because it's just easy. You just put your headphones on and nobody's gonna hear anything. But yeah, I truly believe it's strictly connected. Like with all my heart, I don't think I will be. I mean, I don't consider myself now it sounds like I'm like so full of myself, but I consider myself a pretty decent editor, and I think that if I wasn't using that musical background all the time, I would not be as good in a way. Even when I'm just like thinking, I'm like thinking like, "Ooh, okay, I got you get into the sort of like composition mindset, like you're composing a piece of music, but you're actually like, oh, close up there, maybe extend it, like one shot.
I saw you editing. It's like even the way how your fingers move across the keyboard. It looks like you're composing. I don't know. Yeah,
That's what it is. Even the camera, I believe, even when the camera, when they move, like a steady cam or something, it's like they dance, the camera dances, the editor plays, the camera dances. I do believe that all of these beautiful arts are very, very strongly connected, because they're very, delicate, and they hit you. They hit you to the deepest part of your soul, I always fight, not strong fight, stupid fights with my girlfriend because she's not into art. Like she doesn't do art a job. She's not into the creative field. So always have this like okay, it's like she doesn't like when I ask her like the movie, right? Like Back to the Future. It's like maybe I don't remember. I'm like. Well, like, cause I can't.
You have to watch it.
Yeah. But it's like arts really helps you in like in the I don't know. It just more. It gets you more emotions. It makes you live better. I think we all need some art. This is why when you are in front of a beautiful painting, in Florence, for example, no, you stay there, or even a statue, you have the, what is it called, the Stendhal syndrome. You just like, surrounded by so much art, but you like, wow, like you think like, really, someone actually took a piece of marble and then shape it up, and I could even see the veins of the human body. And how is it possible that something so hard can be so soft? Looks like almost like a gelatin. Doesn't even look like marble, but because the heart that's in it, the artist who did that, Michelangelo, they put that, they strongly had that, and they were like getting into this sort of.
Well, talking about art, I would love to talk about your projects, and I would love for you to start talking about first Thirsty.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So,
which is an LGBTQ musical, and it was the pilot. Am I right? And
no, Thirsty is in actual. It's a feature film.
It is a
actually. Yes.
feature film. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
The pilot, it's called, it's another a name is called the Misadventures of Bucky and Beene, and that's the name of the pilot. Thursday is a feature film that I did in a couple of years ago, and it's a story about this kid who grew up and always felt like he didn't want to dress. He always looked like a girl, and people were, of course, bullying him. In the 70s, he was always bullying him. And then, he realizes when he grew up that he wanted to become like fully decided, what, I'm not that person anymore. I want to become, and he decided to become a Cher impersonator. But he does not do, dubbing. He actually impersonates, like does it with his voice, uses his voice.
Okay.
He sings. Okay.
But this new one is called The Misadventures of Bucky and Beene, and it's directed by an incredible woman. Talking about the podcast, that I think you could totally set you up an interview with her. She's amazing. Her name is Lisa Thomas. She's a director and producer, and it's a story about this couple of friends that they have this radio station, LGBTQ radio station, but nobody knows where they are. So they always because it's inside a what's the name
Trailer.
in English? One of those things on
Trailer?
the wheel that you just attach to the pickup, and I can't remember the name of it. Like a caravan.
Like a trailer.
Like a trailer, yes, like a trailer. So they go always around, and then there is, this kind of there's this couple who she listened to the radio, she really likes, but the husband is really conservative, and then wants to chase that, but it's a comedy, of course, And this one I did the editing of the episode. It's a 20-ish minutes. Typical length for a episode. And this one I actually edited. This was shockingly fast because I was going back to New York to pick up some last of my things. Because of the pandemic, I have to move back to Italy, so I left a couple of things there. So I edited in about 20 days. So in 20 days, even less, I think, I did it. And it's really funny. It's not out yet, but you can see the trailer on the internet. And it's called The Misadventures of Bucky and Beene. And it has great cast. It's a Johnny Beauchamp, who was also in Stonewall, and also has this a drag queen, famous. Her name is Peppermint. I think she's now doing great in the United States, and about a lot of other, all the cast. It's really, really great, and it's a really fun movies. I hope that it gets picked up by the majors, by the big HBOs, and because it's really fun. It makes fun. It's an LGBTQ film, but it also kind of makes fun of it. And it's but in a genuine, healthy, nice way. It makes fun of both sides, So it's really it's really nice. It's it's ironic, because a lot of people these days kind of feel like they lost the irony. They're ability to laugh. It's still it's a joke. It's a film.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, we will definitely have the link to that trailer in the show notes.
Yeah, sure, I will give it to you. Yeah,
that would be amazing if you give it. And I would love to ask you, how was it to work with Lisa? How was it with this film, particularly this, which is going to be a series then, episode? How was it with the rhythm? How did you work?
That was the reason why they hired me. So basically, when I got the job ad on the internet, at that time I had the interview with Lisa, who was the producer, and Margot Pelletier, who was the director. Unfortunately, she passed a couple of years, few years ago. And incredible director that I worked with. She was amazing, and she was she knew exactly what she wanted. She was an artist. See, talking about what we were talking before, she was a sculptor. She was a painter. She was a woodworker. Like she would work with wood. She was unbelievable, and she also directed. So I met Lisa for that occasion, and working on Thursday, when I went to the interview, they actually the thing that sold it, the thing that sold myself in a way, that they were like, this guy is actually what we're looking for, was the fact that I said that I play drums, that I play, and so they was like, okay, so you are familiar with rhythm, you can, you're like, and I was like, yeah, yeah, and it was like, because this is going to be a musical type of film. And I was like super excited because I really like musicals, although it's really strange. But not everybody likes musicals.
Yes.
I haven't watched Wicked. They told me that it's Wicked, but I haven't watched it yet. But have you guys watched it? I haven't watched it.
No, I haven't.
No,
I
not
have
yet.
to. I definitely need to watch it.
Okay. But basically, so I was like, wow, super excited to work on a feature film musical. Right? And then someone else did the editing. So they actually had a pre-editor, and they did not like it. And in fact, when I actually, and this was one of the artist projects that I worked on, because I did not have a blank piece of paper. I did not have a white canvas that I could paint. Someone else painted on it. Okay.
May I ask you, sorry that I know, are you now talking about Thirsty, or are you talking about the film?
Thirsty.
Oh,
Thirsty.
so with
Yes.
Thirsty, you came in later.
Was already edited.
And that's
Okay,
where
but-
Marco was the director, obviously.
Exactly.
Got
Exactly.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
And Lisa, that's how I met Lisa, right?
That's how you met Lisa, because she produced Thirsty.
Exactly. Yes.
Power
So
women. Love
and
it.
then they didn't like the work of the editor, and the editor decided to quit, and so I had to work on someone else's work, which was really, really hard, because you don't know how they messed it up. You don't know what they did, technical stuff. You don't know, like, it's really, really complicated. It's like almost like painting on something that is already painted. You don't know how the color red is going to come up on top of a color blue. It's really, really difficult. Or playing a instrument over something that is being already composed. It's really, really complicated. So, but thanks to my musical ear, I was able to, start the work. They really liked it, and then we super connected, and then we put it out in the world, and we went to film festival. It was really great, and that's how I met Lisa. From then, Lisa and I have been working together, and the distance doesn't matter, because I am in Italy and now, and she's in the United States. She's a very, very, she travels a lot. She likes to meet people. She's really into the networking mindset that I mentioned last time before. And and that's how when we started to collaborate. We started to do a lot of music videos. We started for a band. We started to do an episode together, the Misadventures of Bucky and Beene. So from that moment on, it was always collaborating together. I basically found the director. Remember what I said before? The editor and director are like,
Yes.
I found my American editor, because in Italy I also worked with some other person, but is the it's like also my sister, and so my American sister.
So Lisa
so-
Thomas is the one that, like, is your director in the States, where you say we are like, it's just
Yes.
it's a beautiful match.
Amazing.
between
Yes,
you.
exactly. So whenever she needs something, I always do it. Whenever I need something, she always does it. Whenever she wants to do something, the first person I get contact, it's me. Even before the actual editing, like for the Misadventures of Bucky and Beene, she really wanted me to be on set with her, but it was in the United States, and I could not be there because of the COVID. So I could not physically be there, but she was like, I really would love you to come here so you can give me suggestions. So this is what it is all about. It's completely trusting the other person, especially the editor and the director, because that trust needs to be strong throughout the entire process. Otherwise, the movie's not gonna. You can have the best director, the best actors, the best lighting, the best camera, the best sound composer, musical composer, whatever. But if the director doesn't connect with all the other people, especially with the editor, which has such a big last word, a last chance to make it better, it's not gonna work, you know. So that's how I met her, and then she's incredible. I think you should totally set an episode
We
with her.
would love to.
Oh
for
yes, we
instance.
would love to, and also like to get this series made. Like
Yeah.
this sounds amazing and something that I would love to watch.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the name. It sounds engaging. You know, it's something that I would definitely.
The
you know, if I would-
Misadventures of Bucky
Yes.
and Beene. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like fun. And then you also told us that your recent project is the
Mm-mm.
3 music videos, right?
Yeah.
Which you kind of collaborated with another international friend, a Greek friend. He's
Yeah,
also
so-
living in the United States, right?
Yeah, so director, producer is from the United States. His name is Michael Justin Lee, which I will be always thankful to him, and we still collaborate every time. And the singer, her name is Maria. She's Greek, and
No, like
she
Maria Callas.
no,
Sorry.
she's
I just
crazy.
recently watched
She's
the
amazing
movie and
voice.
it's amazing.
She has an amazing voice. She has such a big range. She could do soft, nice, like Celtic music, but also like metal, like like growling sort of like style. So
Wow.
she could go from one to another like in a snap fingers. So yeah, I collaborate with those 2 amazing artists, and recently I also directed 3 music videos, and I also collaborated with them. Maria was actually physically with me, of course, because of the music video that we shot in Florence, in Italy. Michael, the producer, was in United States, supervising everything, making sure that everything was getting smooth. This is why it's amazing. And we also have my co-workers, Alessandro, Alberto, and Leonardo, that helped me, which I, of course, say hi, which they helped me like in doing this amazing work. In 5 days, we were able to shoot 3 music videos.
Oh, wow.
And one is already out. It's called Angels in Absentia. You can Google it on YouTube. You will find it.
Well, I
and
hope we can get the link, right? We're gonna
Yeah,
have a link
we'll
in the
get-
show
I'll
notes.
give
We
you all the
definitely-
links.
That would be
Yeah.
amazing. We
It's a
will get
very,
it
very
ourselves.
honorable music video because it also promote something that it's going on in the United States more and more often, unfortunately, which is child trafficking, child abuse. So it's promoting this, and it's a charity organization to collect as much as funds to completely eliminate this huge problem. On January 9th, so I don't know when this is going to be hired, this interview, but on January 9th, we're going to have the second episode, the second music video released, which is called Unleashed, which is very, very particular. The locations are beautiful. I want to thank Leonardo because he was able to find these amazing locations in his abandoned mansion. And it's a story about the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of like personality, double personality, but with a pinch of comedy. So, and there is also me in the music video, but I'm not gonna say anything about
No
where I
spoiler.
am. No spoilers. But yeah, it's gonna come out on January 9th, and it's great, and I love to collaborate with Michael and Maria. And in fact, we actually are going to shoot other music videos in the near future. Probably this year, we're gonna shoot other music videos. And yeah, it's a tough work, but because as an editor, moving into directing, it's kind of like very, very strange because it's an advantage because when I see things, I can see already when they were put together. So I know that I'm not going to need an extra shot if I already have that covered, So it's an advantage, but at the same time, you really realize how difficult is the director work. Like you really are in charge of everything. It's like you are the pilot of this, bus full of people, to put it like mildly, of course, but you have to drive very well because there's a bunch of people, and there's like really, really lot of responsibility. The makeup artist will come to you, the sound engineer will come to you, the director of photography will come to you, everybody will come to you saying, so what do we do now? What do we do? Is that okay? Do you like it? Should we use blue or white? Should we, it's nerve wracking,
A lot of choices.
Exactly, a lot of
A lot of
choices,
choices
but
to
we did it.
Decisions to make.
Yeah, exactly. Decisions, tough decisions, because your decision will eventually be, seen at the end. So yeah.
So that means I didn't introduce you correctly. I didn't say you're a director.
Oh
Hello.
no.
No,
I don't.
No.
It's too much. Like directing, it's something else. Yes, you will see the music video. I will send you the link, and if the audience will wants to see and watch it, and like it, then I just try to do my best. And of course, if it wasn't for my crew, honestly, I don't think we were able to do anything. Like in 5 days, 4 people and the singer on set, we were able to shoot amazing things, and it was tough, but. We go back to the passion that we mentioned at the beginning of this call. Like if you really want to do it, if you really feel inside of you that you really want to tell a story, whether it's with lights, whether it's with camera, whether it's with editing, whether it's with acting or with locations or with makeup, whatever that is, if you do it fully 100% committing to that, result, it's guaranteed. A good result, it's guaranteed. And that's exactly what happened.
So, and you also, the thing was that you were also then line producing, right?
Yeah.
As you were the only producer then on set. So you were wearing a lot of hats.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like sort of acting as a mouth to report from producer in the United States to on set. Like, okay, guys, we need to do that. We need to make sure that we see this, that we see that, But next time when we do the other music videos, the director, the producer, Michael, will also be with us filming. So we kind of like co-direct together as we already did in the past. And I just want to say one thing about Michael that I really appreciate that I do not find in other filmmakers, which is the ability to do things. And I know this sounds so like, okay, do things, what does it mean? It means that when he tells me today that in a year he wants to do 5 videos or a film or a feature or a short or whatever that is, rest assured that he's going to do it. Like maybe it will be a little bit late, but he comes through. And, he gives job to a lot of filmmakers that otherwise would not be able to do anything. And they have incredible talents, but maybe they don't have always the chance to show their talents. So I really big shout out to Michael Justin Lee, who's also incredible. He's also a musician. See, we go back to the fact that you need to have art everywhere, because he says something, he does it. Like he tells me, Fabrizio, I really wanted to do these music videos on 2025, when I'm like a little more free, I will come to Florence. I know that maybe it will not be January 2025, but it will certainly be, that we will do those things. We will shoot those films, we will edit those films. And I honestly think that this is something that, at least around my, in my experience, I experienced a lot, and I met a lot of people. They always come to me and they say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Are you available? I want to do this film, I want to do that. And they don't do absolutely nothing. They're just like, I don't do that. I don't have the budget. I don't have the actors. I don't have the. So just do it. Just do it, because if you wait for all of this like things, if you wait for the perfect moment, it will never arrive. Unfortunately, this is the truth.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. This is just, this is everything, because this
you do the podcast you guys are doing, which is amazing. At a certain point, I'm sure you guys talk to each other and you say, okay, talking about it is not going to make any difference. Let's just sit, take a camera, take 2 microphones, and let's do it.
Yeah,
this is how things happen.
How it started with us, and we started talking about it, and we knew that we wanted to do more together, and then it just And we started, as our first episode says, like before we were ready. Like it's really
Exactly,
about just taking the
exactly.
steps, and things are changing. Now I have a better microphone, but I didn't have, it was fine that I had. Now I have a little bit of lights, and it's okay. You know, one light is still not really functioning, but hey, it's okay. Like
Exactly, exactly. In
we're
the end,
still
people.
doing it.
Exactly. In the end, people. I mean, this might sound like a, like a redundant, but people are not really interested in how you say it, like in the technical aspect. I mean, of course, a nicer microphone will help, and a cleaner audio will definitely help. But in the end, they're interested in what are you saying? Like, what is the message that you're
Yes.
trying to give it to me?
Yeah.
That you sent
Yeah.
me.
Yes. Yeah, we truly believe that. And that's exactly the message behind this podcast. I think we kind of empower ourselves as well and
Yes.
encourage ourselves,
Exactly.
which is very
Yes.
important, because the world can be a tough place if you're looking for reassurance from the outside, if you're looking for people to give you validation.
It could be a horrible
Never
place.
comes.
Exactly.
It is a horrible place if you're looking for that all the time. And I've been there. I admit it. So many times I've wanted, like I was like waiting for the outside, like to give me even the permission to start. Like, well, I have to wait for someone to say yes, you can, and it's not a good place to be. It isn't. You don't get anywhere.
You also have to be ready for criticism.
Yes.
People are going to take you down. People are going to think like you're, oh, what? That sounds so bad. Oh, the camera, it's awful. But I don't think you want, reassurance from those people. You don't want those people to be like, to tell you how great you are. So it's actually good. It's a natural selection. You just take those people, the people who are interested in like the technical aspect. You know who those people are? Those people are the one that don't do anything. So they like, what they're actually thinking is that, man, I really wanted to do the podcast. How is this people did it and I didn't? Because, that's what they're actually thinking. But they cannot, say it out loud because it will hurt, themselves, their feelings,
So this is why we're doing this, you guys. If you're watching us here or listening, please start. Take the steps.
Yes.
And if you need encouragement, talk to us. Write us. Really, send us a message, like an email. And, if there's anything where we just... Maybe it's just this one little word you need to hear. Like Fabrizio said, just do it. Well, Nike started with that one, but hey, whatever. It's the most amazing thing ever. And it's true.
Being ambitious,
do it.
Be ambitious, like your podcast,
Be
you gotta be ambitious.
ambitiously intelligent.
Ambitious is not a bad thing. Sometimes,
It's
like,
beautiful.
like, oh, don't be too ambitious, it's a good thing. I honestly genuinely think that you do need some ambitions, like, because you need to see yourself in a place where you wanted to be. And always like, like I wanted to go there. Like I really, if I wasn't like that, if you guys weren't like that, like, I don't think I would be here talking to you. Like if after the first time I will like send resume in London and not giving any feedback, I would have stayed there with the shoe of the lady in my hand trying to sell her another pair of shoes. I know. I still
will
think it's
never
crazy.
ever get rid of that image. That is just stuck in my head now.
When
This
you
is
like,
exactly why you're a great storyteller, that you kind of like stretch the point.
But what's funny? Even myself, like if I could, I don't know, relieve that moment, right, from the eyes of maybe like a pass-by, like a pass-goers, like someone who was like, I would be like, what the hell? Like what? Like this guy just leaving just like that? Like
That's precious.
seriously, I had the shoe. Like I was like this. Yeah, so I'll give you. Do you have this in brown? Yes. Let me give you that in brown 1 second. And then I literally like I just had the, like when Doc Brown from Back to the Future, he thinks of the thing that will send him back to the future.
Yes.
I had that. The epiphany. I was like. Except that he bumped his head. I didn't bump my head. I just like look at I was like, yeah. Can you take it in brown? Okay, yes. And I put the shoes down. I put it in the box. I go back, take my jacket. I just like left from the main door, like like
Amazing.
Gone. Gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Would
You
be
know,
interesting to see the POV of the shoe.
I know, right?
Expression.
Oh my God, Valeria, that is so you being the director you are. You're so
Valeria,
talented.
we
Like
should,
doing things.
we
I
should,
would like to see the POV of the shoe.
we should.
Yes.
I think we are like already a good group to
Yes.
make a story. We have a director, we have an actor, we have an editor. We just need a light, like cinematographer, or like, and we're just good, you know.
We're good. We're ready
We'll
to
do the
go.
London Epiphany, the story of a guy who just loves filmmaking so much that he's like turning point while he's like helping a lady, a very wealthy British lady, buying her a pair of shoes, and just like leaves it from the main door.
Love this. We should do it.
I love it.
This has been great. I'm enjoying it.
But
Really,
wait. I want to know something. We know so much about you. And there's something about how Valeria and you met.
Yes. Yeah, we met at NYFA, and
Yes.
again, big shout out to everyone at NYFA. You guys really made my 2024, and you made my life so much cooler and so much better, everyone. So thank you so much. I would be forever grateful if you're watching. Big shout out to you. Yes, that's how we met. We first met in summer, actually 2023. There was a brief course, filmmaking, and I went just for one brief week, and I think we had one editing workshop with you. It was the last day, just immediately
it was a
before
1
the
week.
screenings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess what struck me about you is the energy that you approach things. You're so passionate. It's like, and you don't contain it, and it's like spills over, and it's beautiful, and people are like, you know, you're so generous with this. When you explain things, you want people to understand. You want them to see your point, and it's contagious. You know, it's I think like editing can be very onerous, and especially if it's like taught in the boring way, when you're sitting like for 15 hours and trying to fix this little thing, like I don't know, like the sound, and you're like, oh my God, like what is my life? But when it's done in this way, and it's like a fun, and you're kind of creative, and you show different ways, and you find different approaches you also like sit with people and find, you know, the right approach to explain to the particular person, which I guess is also, you know, people skills that everyone needs with networking and everything in life.
Yeah, I mean, the person is learning. You know, the person in front of me is trying to learn something that maybe has a little bit of experience, maybe has zero experience. Like zero, meaning that they never open a editing software in their whole life. Not even on TikTok or on Instagram. You know, those like handy editing little apps. So I was there. Like I was a student, you know. And actually, when I was a student, I was already 10 years of editing behind my shoulder. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to make the mistake that I feel like I'm so superior. I know already compared to all of my classmates. So I went back to their level. And in fact, that's how I learned a lot of things. Like really a lot of things by like being humble, and then it's like, okay, I didn't know that. I used to do that in a way that it would take me 3 minutes instead of 30 seconds. So I put myself in the shoes of the person in front of me, in this case, the students, like you were. And then I could try to say, okay, she's really struggling with sound, for example. This is what I remember for the sound, you know. And Eva was like,
Yeah, La Bella Vita di Veronica.
Exactly.
That's the one we're talking about. When we're in the middle of the night and we're lying on the bed, or we're sitting, and I was like, we were recording it again because the boom
to do the ADR.
Yeah. It was because of the boom. It like, right? That was that one that broke.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yes, there was the cord malfunctioning.
The cord,
Disaster.
But if you remember,
fun.
you know, I was trying like everything I could possibly try to make
everything.
to clean
I was
it, you know.
so grateful because I was so stressed, and I was like, oh my God, like there has to be a way. And you never gave up. You were like, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this.
Because I think what I would like if I were you, like, and I would be like, I have to deliver my final film. I have a deadline, and I'm like 80% there. I really want it to be like better because the sound is such an important part of the film, right?
Crucial.
Imagine if I would uh like, oh, no, it's fine, that's fine, screen it like this, it would be like giving up, and
Yes.
I don't think you should give up. I'm not a quitter. There are moments, I have to say, with students, there are some students like really tough, but that's when they don't want to learn. Like, that's when they, I can see from a few moments at the beginning where they really have they don't really understand the incredible opportunity that they have when they're learning filmmaking, you know. And I can spot them like in 2 seconds when they're like looking at their phones too many times, or when they're like distracted, when they ask me questions after 5 times that I show how to do things, and they ask me, I always reply, but at a certain point I'm like, I think you're not listening. But I can spot them already. Like I already got a good experience that I can spot them already to understand whether they are learning, they want to learn or not learn, they're interested, or just there because their parents just want to park them at the school and maybe enjoy Florence or whatever. But I do it with that energy, and I do it because maybe because when I was very young, my teachers were like, okay, open page 36, read from line 1. Like, I would like fall asleep,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's maybe the mechanism that triggers inside of me, which is always have high energy, which sometimes it doesn't work very well. For example, with my girlfriend, she's like, can you calm down, please, you're too much. So I understand. But
No.
but
In a classroom, it works wonders
I know.
because I think we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
need this.
yeah,
We
yeah,
all
yeah.
need this.
Especially because like it's a tough program. It's like day to day to day, like it's every single day, and you shoot in the weekend. So it's like you're super tired. Sometimes you like shoot late at night and then come back at school in the morning. So
Yes.
I understand that there might be a little bit of like down moments, falling asleep. That's why I hit you, figuratively speaking, with I
With beautiful
slap you.
energy.
Exactly, with
Yeah.
energy. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
With beautiful positive energy, as we can see now. And this is who you're seeing in front of you if you're watching. If you're not watching this, just listening, please watch
You
it, and you will
definitely
see
should.
Fabrizio and his beautiful energy. He's just bubbling. There's so much love and passion, and that's what
You should see me when I'm
Valeria
drunk. No,
told
I'm
me.
kidding.
But that's
No.
what Valeria told me about. Is like there's this amazing love for what you do, and when you're then teaching others, that's what you're giving them. There's this immense love and excitement, and so editing, as I also know, is like it's for hours and hours. It can be so
On
much
a
work, and it
on
is so
a
much
on
work.
a like 5 second piece, you can spend like
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
an hour.
yeah, yeah.
I like the
So-
way Valeria's like, oh yeah, it's like,
Yeah. Yes.
But,
I've got all those recollections in my mind.
yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, this is what I've been doing for almost like my working life, my entire working life. I haven't done any other job in my life except the shoe for a very small amount of time.
the shoe.
Yeah. So that's why, like, I just love it. I like get excited whenever I have a project that involves editing. I'm not like, oh my God. Like, a lot of people think like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do some modifications. They're gonna send me the notes. I don't want to change that. No, that's like, I love it. That's exactly what the part that I like, to see a feedback from someone else. Maybe they see the things the way different than when I saw it, and that's fine. Change it. If they are the director, they wanted to change it. Change it. You will see things differently than the way I see it. And then I love it. I just love the work that I do, and it's important in life to love what you do. Sometimes it's not always about what you do. Like, your work does not define your person, who you are, I have to say. But in the end, like, if you're happy, if you can, there must be something that you really like to do. Then maybe it's not your first job. Maybe a side job, something, uh, like me playing drums or playing guitar. I don't get paid, but I have that moment that I like to do, or like playing video games or something, that you're good at and you enjoy. But in my case, editing, it's all I have, and it's all I have. I will always do with a lot of energy and very thirsty for other people, opinion. You know, that's why I like it so much. You know,
I love that.
and
Well,
people should think of that when they decide. I want to do the filmmaker. Like I want to do film. I want to do this. They should always think that in the back of their minds. They should always say, "Listen, do I really love this? How do I feel when I do this? Do I feel happy, or do I feel like frustrated?" Like that's a question that you really have to ask yourself. You know.
Yes, how it makes you feel exactly.
that is a,
And
that is a beautiful question. And
yeah,
a
from
very
personal
important one.
experience, this is everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. One thing I want to ask you, you were talking about like students, and you have all ages. Like, I mean, anyone, if you, you can. There's not an age, like in New York Film Academy. It doesn't matter how old you are or young. You can study with you.
There's
there.
a adults program like the
Yeah.
one that Valeria took,
Yeah.
18 and older, and then there is a youth program, which is
okay.
normally in the summer.
Okay,
It's
got
it's
it.
in the summer, yes. And
And-
but yeah, both ways you're gonna have me as a teacher, as an editing teacher. Yes.
Oh, very nice. What
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted to ask you about is like, obviously now social media and film. I see you're like,
Face expression change.
Check, please.
Dan, thank you. That was really nice. Nice talking to you, girls. Bye. Okay, so maybe we have the answer there, but now really, your opinion on that topic.
Social media, okay, I would not be here saying that it's like terrible, it does not serve any purpose, it's just like it will be better to destroy it, but so it does have some positive aspect. I would just think that if it wasn't for social media, probably I would never meet a lot of people that I met, that I collaborate with, or I would not be able to share opinion or show my work to other people, and with social media, of course, I include Facebook, YouTube, those things, no. So I would not stand here and saying like that's it's always terrible and it doesn't serve purpose at all, like when it comes to filmmaking. But at the same time, like pretty much everything in life, I think that it needs to be taken with caution. Like, you don't have to do everything for social media because, for example, YouTube, right? YouTube changed everything,
Yeah.
especially with filmmaking, because it gave the power, and I think that's a beautiful thing, to everybody to take a camera and tell the stories, okay? Tell your stories, and then make sure that the whole world is there to watch it. Like literally the whole world. It's not like national or like, regional. It's just the whole world. Whoever has a link and click on it can watch it. Which, if you think about it, 20 years, 25 years ago, maybe more, it would be like mind blowing. There's no way that my work could have been seen in Australia or in the United States with a click, right? At the same time, there is the downside, the other side of the coin, which is not everybody has the ability to understand that, okay, you can do everything you want, you can put it out there, but you need some sort of like, quality check, your own quality check in a way. Like, because otherwise, what happens is that everybody puts everything they want out there, even if it's well made or badly made, doesn't matter. And I'm not talking about like, the audio is not great. I'm talking like terrible stuff, like things that sometimes don't make any sense. Um, or even worse, like they send like really bad messages or like really weird things. Um, and then what's the risk of doing that, of putting everything out there, is that the audience lowers their,
Standard.
how can I say that, their sensitivity to art, that they're like they're not sensible to what does it mean to have a good shot or a clean audio or like a nice like it's hard to explain, but it lowers the quality, the quality, but not the actual quality per se, the quality, how we perceive quality.
Okay.
So because I think that there has to be some sort of like common ground, that like, okay, if you want to put up something there, you should at least have audio that people will be able to understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that you have to buy like a $6,000 microphone, but at least people should be able to hear what you're saying, and not having background noise or wind, or camera. At least give me a camera that I can, or move the camera nicely, not like, doesn't matter. Unfortunately, I have to put inside this conversation also the fact that the smartphones, because if at the same time the smartphones allowing us to do this, what
Yes,
we're looking right
exactly.
now, on the contrary, when taking too much, when you're doing everything on the smartphone, it completely creates a barrier between what is you and your smartphones and the reality out there. And so it's really a thin line that it's defined, and then crossing it, it's very 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 easy. Even I sometimes I've done the crossed it sometimes. But for example, I tried to do the YouTube channel, which maybe is a topic that we would have touched. I wanted to do like a tutorial YouTube channel, um, and editing, of course, tutorial about editing. And I just have a couple of episodes so far because with my teaching work, I don't have always the time to like sit there and do it. But when I do it, I check always like like I want to have a lower common ground, that I don't want to go lower than that. Okay, just make sure that the sound is good, make sure that the quality is good, that the lighting is okay. You know, but I would not, I would never even dream of putting something out there where my face is barely viewable, like everything is too dark, or the sound it's barely understandable. Unfortunately, with social media, people think, like, okay, I can take my phone, record everything, put it out there, and just people will like it. So it's a double-bladed sword. It's really really good, but unfortunately, sometimes if you're not taking with the right in the right way, it can be really really can lower really the quality, our sensitivity to art. I don't think if sensitivity is the right word I'm looking for, but how sensible you are to something that you watch and that you hear.
Okay.
Even
Yeah,
what's
it's
happening
like
with AI, with artificial intelligence. The only thing I'm afraid is not the artificial intelligence will eventually take over some people's job, because I strongly believe that man craft, like what we craft, it's one kind, and I don't think artificial intelligence will be able to go there. But it's the fact that people will get so used to things that are done with artificial intelligence, they will not care anymore if a visual effects artist with 20 years of experience did an explosion that looks amazing, because if you see the one done with the AI, I don't see anymore the difference between that one and that one, because my eyes lost the touch, so to speak. Lost the ability to understand what's real and what's fake. That's what I'm only afraid of. That it's like really this like big group of people that like they think, okay, just record a video with my phone, and it's okay. It's always great, and I don't need to touch anything. Sound is great. Or there is always a little bit of like, don't go lower than that, because otherwise there's quality gets too low, and we start to lose the we're not anymore sensible to the image, to the quality, to the message also that that the image. I don't know if that was clear, but
I do understand what you're saying. Yet, you know what? I have this feeling, I don't know why, and that is, I think, and we've always gone through this in the history, I think because of what you're saying, that this, I called it slow filmmaking. I think it's going to come. And it's like, we have fast food, and it's crap. It's really
exactly.
unhealthy.
But we do eat pappardelle with the cinghiale ragu,
Yeah. But now people are more and more and more going like, wait a minute, my body is my temple. Yes, there's all this crap out there, but I wanna eat something good, and something that's really like my grandma made it, or things like that. And I think the same is for the arts. Yes, what you're saying, it's true. There's a lot of things out there. There are just they're just unfortunately not there, with the quality. At the same time, I do believe, and I always believe in this, that it will find, those that really honor art and like it and are, you know what I mean? They will not watch it. They will go like, okay, thank you, no. But, okay.
Yeah. And it goes sometimes the other direction, which is people focus too much on the aspect, right? So when it goes on the other side, it's like beautiful looking, sound amazing, but then there is no content, which is something that I get with my students sometimes. They're so focused on doing the title that disappear behind the object, and then they're so focused on the lighting, and then the story doesn't say anything, or like maybe the movie, it's like 15 minutes and it could have been like 5 and it would have been even better, But going back to what you were saying, is that it's true, like the eventually there will be two different current of people. They will like the one that will be absolutely okay with fast food and like not having any thought of moving to pappardelle with cinghiale, just to use the food analogy.
Sounds yummy.
And the one that actually will be like, you know what? No, that's fast food. I'm not gonna eat that. I'm just gonna eat good, and then I still am a little afraid that the eyes of the new generations will get too used to the fast food, and not because around them there will not be a lot of good dishes, but there will be a lot of fast food, so they will be like, that one is cheaper. I'll get that one because it's faster. That's what I'm a little afraid of. That's the only thing that I'm afraid of.
I think what you get in it, it's like with good wine, right? You have to have a developed palate to understand. Otherwise, you can have, I don't know, the best bottle, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the wine of, just like a table wine or the one that is really exquisite. And I think, it's really important, and it's probably becoming our own responsibility to kind of stay away, or at least to have a filter, because that would affect in the long term our ability to recognize what is even good.
Perfect analogy, by the way. Yes. The wine, perfect, even better than the food actually, because it's true. Then you taste good wine. You know that you bought like maybe good wine. But then if it's that one or the one in the paper, Tetra Pak, whatever, for you is the same. That's a great analogy. Perfect. I will use that during my class. I will quote Valeria,
I'll be honored.
This is the quote, and this is also how we're gonna end this episode, because this is amazing that we're ending with food and quality wine.